Hi, thanks for joining us on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. AFC NFC Championship weekend. We got 3 NFL football games left. The 2 coming up on Sunday and then the 1 Super Bowl. I think it's going to be 2 very good games. I don't really see any blowouts taking place, so on either side. And in fact, we like both dogs in this game. We'll give you some breakdown here, kind of give you why. So we believe Baltimore will run the ball consistently against the Chiefs. They are probably the most patient offense when it comes to that. The Bills try to be. They were running the ball well against the Chiefs, especially Allen and Cook in the first half, third quarter. Then got away from it late. Chiefs kind of took over that. Now, here's the only one difference that I foresee. If the Chiefs do get an early lead, I think the Ravens still run the ball, but they run the ball more with Jackson. And I think it's going to be tough for the Chiefs this weekend in this particular matchup. No question about it. Baltimore's probably the most well-rounded team. Here's what I'm seeing, though. Lamar's never been to the Super Bowl. Mr. Mahomes has been to the Super Bowl 3 times. This game's in Baltimore. The Chiefs have only played 1 road game in Mahomes' in his era, so to speak. And they are 1-0 as they beat Buffalo last week. Here's the one thing that Mahomes has never had, and that's an elite defense. I believe they are an elite defense. Now, they do have one weakness, and that seems to be running the ball. But when you have to throw the ball against the Chiefs, or you try to, that's where they really shine. Defensive line going to give an edge here against the O-line for the Chiefs. The O-line for the Chiefs, though, this week is definitely injured with Tooney going to be out. That's definitely a loss for the Chiefs, I think. Mahomes is going to be a little bit more of on the run. Mahomes is one of the hardest quarterbacks, though, to get sacked. So that is a plus. So I think they maybe keep those big negative plays off the board. Chiefs are going to figure out figure out how to win this game in a real tight fashion, like 21-20, 23-20, something to that effect. I don't, or maybe it's 23-19. The Ravens move the ball well, but end up with field goals. Lamar Jackson is the absolute deal in this game. If Lamar Jackson runs for over 100 yards, more than likely the Ravens are going to win. If he doesn't run for 100 yards, let's say in that 60 to 80 range, I think it's a lot closer. If he runs below that, it could be real trouble for the Ravens. We think the Chiefs get out to an early lead in this game and hang on to it. I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis on them going down to score the ball early. The Ravens have been really good in the second half against most teams. The Chiefs' defense has been outstanding in the second half against most teams this season. In fact, they're giving up an average of 7 points in the second half. The under second half total is actually cashed in I believe they're up to 20 games now. So it's 16 or 17 out of 20 games. The second half under points is actually cashed in Chiefs games. The reason being, their defense has been lights out. Now, also, the Chiefs have kicked a lot more field goals probably this year, haven't been as successful in the red zone as they have been in the past. But they have one of the best kickers. The best kicker is probably on Baltimore's side, Justin Tucker. Butker has been right behind him for years now. So we got 2 great field goal kickers. I don't think we're going to be taking a lot of chances once we're in field goal range. I think points are going to be extremely important in this matchup. We're not going to take the under just due to the fact that we could see, I think there's too many possibilities of this game going over. But we do expect tightly contested game, probably in the low 20s. On that one there. So kind of quarterback, I'd give the edge to Mahomes, even though this year Lamar's definitely going to win the MVP. Rushing side, I would definitely give it to the Ravens. Passing side, I would definitely give it to the Chiefs. So kind of a wash there. Ravens' patience is pretty good as well on that one. Defensively, I mean, you got to give the overall defense probably to the Ravens. Pass defense, though, I'm going to give to the Chiefs. I think they're better there. Rush defense, I think, is better side on the Ravens. Now, the one area I think where the Ravens outshine the Chiefs is going to be on special teams, especially if McCole Hardman's going to be involved, as he is a fumble effing machine. I foresee a lot of special teams wise, they're going to have to be extremely careful. So don't be surprised if you see some veterans back there. The Chiefs cannot afford turnovers in this game at all. The Ravens, I think, the same way as the Chiefs will typically take advantage of those on that side. So I think like I said, we should see a very completely close game here. Would not shock me, like I said, 21-20 or 23-20 or something to that effect. Like I said, it's going to come down probably the last possession. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. It will be interesting to see how the Chiefs react without their left Joe Thuney on the left side, their guard there, all-pro guard, to see if the Ravens can really take advantage of that or not. If they can, this brings back some of the memories of the Super Bowl where the Chiefs lost to Tampa Bay when both their tackles were out and they were putting whoever they could find out there to kind of replace those. The good news is I think they can hold up. That center and right guard have been, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith have been extremely good this year. And they can slide protections. And like we said, Mahomes is one of the hardest quarterbacks to sack. Lamar gets sacked a little bit more often because he just thinks nobody can get the speed or the angle on him. So he does get sacked a little bit more often. If the Chiefs can sack him on some passing downs, I think that really forces him probably to run the ball a little bit more than normal. So, like I said, we think that we like both dogs in both of these games here, but Chiefs we like a little bit more for an outright victory than the Lions. So we'll give you the rundown of our bets. There's quite a few here, so do make sure you check out the Google Sheets at the end of the show. It'll be a link in the comments section to all of our bets, units we placed, what juice we got them at, and what book. So we're going to get started. Chiefs plus a half first quarter. Chiefs plus 2.5 first half, plus 4 for the game. Lamar Jackson over 63.5 rush yards. I know this number might have went up maybe 1 or 2 yards, so make sure you hop in as quickly as possible. I think this thing could tilt 70 by Sunday. Lamar Jackson under 210.5 pass yards. Like I mentioned, I think he's going to be running the ball a lot, and I think he'll throw for probably $160 to 200, somewhere in that range. As that defense for the Chiefs, like I said, secondary-wise is really good, and there's nobody that's really going to be too hard for them to handle. You've got L'Jarius Sneed, who's one of the best corners in the game, and if he's going to be matched up on Zay Flowers, that's really going to eliminate that. So now it's back to Mark Andrews being back. And Andrews is definitely the tight ends can do a little bit of damage, especially if Willie Gay's not going to play on the defensive side. It sounds like he's going to be a game-time decision. But I think they can. I think they'll keep him under the 210.5 pass yards. Mahomes over 1.5 passing TDs. Lamar under 19.5 completions, under 28.5 attempts. But we like Lamar over 10.5 rush attempts. Pacheco under 64.5 rushing yards. Pacheco over 15.5 receiving yards. McCole Hardman, as a Chiefs fan, we cannot stand. I don't know why they picked him up. Andy Reid is in love with this guy. He continues to fumble the ball everywhere he goes. So under 10.5 receiving yards. Rashad Bateman for the Ravens, under 23.5 receiving yards. Harrison Butker over 1.5 field goals. Justin Tucker over 1.5 field goals. Justin Matabuke over 1/4 of a sack. I think they will sack Mahomes once or twice in this particular matchup due to the offensive line issues with injuries. We expect Matabuke to get at least a half a sack there. So Justice Hill for the Ravens, over 49.5 rushing and receiving yards combined. Pacheco under 15.5 yards, longest rush. Chiefs over 20.5 points, over 9.5 team total though first half. Chiefs money line for the game, which was up to like plus 168. Lamar to throw a pick. This is where we think the difference is going to be in a couple turnovers. Rashee Rice over 60.5 receiving yards. Hopefully he's back healthy. He looked like he got his ribs hurt last week. Hopefully he's back to full health. And Rashee Rice, anytime touchdown. Ravens Chiefs under 22.5 team total in the not team total. Let's try Ravens Chiefs under 22.5 second half total. Like we mentioned before, this is cashed in 17 out of 20 Chiefs games. We expect to continue. Even though the Chiefs and the Bills put up 21 points pretty quickly in the third and fourth quarter last week, that game still went under in the second half. Under 5 touchdowns total for the game. And both teams to score 15 plus. and Chiefs to win by in a 1-6 spread, which was pretty good plus money, plus 350 on DraftKings. So we'll give you those plays one more time in that Chiefs-Ravens matchup. Really looking forward to this one. Chiefs plus a half first quarter, plus 2.5 first half, plus 4 for the game. Lamar Jackson, over 63.5 rush yards, under 210.5 pass yards. Mahomes, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lamar, under 19.5 completions, under 28.5 pass attempts. I believe this one went to 29.5 in a lot of spots, so I think even more value there. Lamar, over 10.5 rush attempts. I would not be shocked if he has 15 plus attempts in this game. Pacheco for the Chiefs, under 64.5 rush yards, over 15.5 receiving yards. Nicole Hardman, under 10.5 receiving yards. Rashad Bateman, under 23.5 receiving yards. Harrison Butker, over 1.5 field goals. Justin Tucker, over 1.5 field goals. Justin Matabuke, over a quarter of a sack. That was plus money on DraftKings for everybody as well. Justice Hill for the Ravens, over 49.5 rushing plus receiving yards. Isaiah Pacheco, under 15.5 yards longest rush. Chiefs, over 9.5 team total first half, over 20.5 team total for the game. Chiefs money line, Lamar to throw a pick. Rashee Rice, over 60.5 receiving yards. Rashee Rice, anytime touchdown. Ravens Chiefs, under 22.5 second half total, under 5 touchdowns total. And that is 5 and under. So as long as we don't get to 6 touchdowns in the game, we're all square. Both teams to score 15 plus, and Chiefs to win by a 1-6 margin in that particular game. So a lot of bets in that game. I will remind you again, make sure you do check the Google Sheets. We might have bets to add still to this game or the Lions 49ers game. So that is in every episode that we do. You will find the link in the comments section. That'll get you right in there. There's football, basketball going on right now, so you just got to find the football 23-24 tab and or if you're into the basketball bets, those as well, and find those up. It'll have the bet, what juice we took them at, how many units, and what book we placed them at, and then obviously the result once we're finished. Next game up, Lions at the 49ers. This line has moved to 7.5. I can understand why, but I'm going to tell you right now. So here's the biggest stat that I can come up with for you for this particular game. And this all revolves around Debo. When Debo plays, the 49ers average over 30 points a game. When Debo does not play, they average 19 points a game. Now, is it always the same? Were they missing more than Debo? Possibly, but Debo he creates more fear than anybody else on that 49ers team. Kittle's great, Ayuk's great, McCaffrey's great. Debo is the guy that can turn the 3-yard pass into 70 yards and a touchdown, breaking 8 tackles. He is the guy that they can sub out McCaffrey or put McCaffrey at the wideout position and put Debo in the backfield, and you don't know if it's going to be a run or pass. Debo is the difference. Here's the other thing. Everybody talks about the Lions back into their defense. Understandably, not great. They play a lot of zone coverage, and they even with zone coverage, they get beat over the top. You also want to talk about the 49ers defense. If it wasn't for Jordan Love throwing 2 picks last week, I think they're really I think the Packers had a fantastic shot to win that game. Still had a shot to win that game on the last drive, but Love throws another pick, game over. I'm going to tell you right now, I know Jared Goff does not have a fantastic record in San Francisco, but he's also been on some pretty crappy teams until the end of last year and this year when he's been in Detroit. And when he played with the Rams, obviously they're good. The Rams and the 49ers battled upon battle, and that was division foes. It's hard to win a road division game. Now, we do have some money on the Lions straight up here, but I don't know how you can turn down 7.5 without knowing if Debo's playing. Now, if Debo's at half strength, that doesn't really help them a heck of a whole lot, but he does put the fear in defensive coordinators and players. They're scared to, they've seen all the highlights where he just trucks people. He does. He's unbelievable. If he could stay healthy for a complete season, his numbers would be even more terrific than they already are. But Debo is the difference offensively for the 49ers, and that 49ers defense is not as great as everybody seems. Now, they are really good when they go against an inferior offensive line where they can get a huge pass rush. That's not the case when you're facing the Lions. Lions have one of the best offensive lines in the game. Now, they do stop the run pretty well, so we expect Jared Goff to be flinging it kind of all over the place. Here's the key for the Lions to win this game outright. Get an early lead. One of the hardest things to do, but get an early lead. If I'm Dan Campbell and I win the coin toss, I want the ball first. And if the 49ers win the coin toss, I promise you they are deferring because Shanahan loves to squeeze out that 4 minutes at the end of the first half versus the first 4 minutes of the second half. It's the way he's done it forever. Don't see him ever going to change on that particular mark. So if the Lions get out early, I think that really disrupts what the 49ers want to do. It also puts their defense on their heels as they don't know if it's run or pass. And if the Lions can get an early lead, I think they can get the run game going as well, even though that 49ers run defense has been pretty good. Fred Warner is a stud. The other linebacker, Greenlaw, is horrible. I don't know how he got 2 interceptions last week. He just did. So we don't like him on that particular aspect, but we do like the Lions. We're going to be playing the Lions all over the place. Plus, we've got some unders on the 49ers side. So let's get into the bets that we've got. We'll give you those and get rolling here. Lions plus 1.5 first quarter, plus 3.5 first half, plus 7.5 for the game. Lions over 9.5 team total first half. Lions over 21.5 team total for the game. Lions over 2.5 touchdowns. Goff over 255.5 pass yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown over 84.5 receiving yards. This is ticking up a little bit, so if you like Amon and receiving yards, get in early. Jahmyr Gibbs over 21.5 receiving yards. Same thing with Jahmyr Gibbs. This thing is ticking up, so make sure you get in early. 49ers under 14.5 team total first half. Under 29.5 team total for the game. This has also went up, so if you like the under, it's a good opportunity to get in as well. Brock Purdy under 276.5 pass yards. Brock Purdy to throw a pick. The Lions create a lot of tip balls. We think that'll end up being an interception for Purdy. Lions money line, which on FanDuel is plus 300. So if you like the Lions, it's at a great price. Brock Purdy under 289.5 passing and rushing yards combined. Amon-Ra St. Brown, anytime touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, we're going to sprinkle for 2+ touchdowns. It was plus 1,000 on FanDuel. Amon-Ra St. Brown, anytime touchdown first half. I really think he's going to score in the first half, and then the question is we're going to get one in the second half. Amon-Ra St. Brown over 7.5 receptions. Ayuk under 80.5 receiving yards. That's a huge number, and if Debo plays, that he's going to get less targets. So that's a big, big number at 80.5. I haven't seen Ayuk at 80.5 all season long. Ayuk under 5.5 receptions and also under 27.5 yards longest reception. Amon-Ra St. Brown over 23.5 yards longest reception. Brock Purdy under 7.5 rushing yards. Nick Bosa under a half a sack. That is plus money on FanDuel. Both teams to score 20+. I have a feeling this game's going to be in the mid to high 20s. High being 27. I don't think anybody probably scores over 27, but somewhere in that range. 49ers to lose a fumble. We think the Lions are going to need a turnover in order to get this. So a fumble and an interception, I think, could really work in their favor to get this done. And we're also going to play, there is at least a 2-point attempt. It does not have to be a conversion. It's just an attempt. It's plus 105 on DraftKings. If you like that play. So some plus money bet on that particular one there. So we'll run through all the 49ers Lions for you one more time. So Lions plus 1.5 first quarter, plus 3.5 first half, plus 7.5 for the game. Lions over 9.5 team total first half, over 21.5 team total for the game. Lions over 2.5 TDs, so they need 3+ TDs in order to make that bet cash. Goff over 255.5 pass yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown over 84.5 receiving yards. Jahmyr Gibbs over 21.5 receiving yards. 49ers under 29.5 team total, and then under 14.5 team total first half. Brock Purdy under 276.5 pass yards. Brock Purdy to throw a pick. Lions money line. Brock Purdy under 289.5 passing and rushing yards combined. Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown. Ross St. Brown 2+ touchdowns, a little sprinkle on that. Amon-Ra St. Brown over or anytime touchdown first half, and over 7.5 receptions for St. Brown as well. Ayuk under 80.5 receiving yards, under 5.5 receptions, under 27.5 yards longest reception. Ross St. Brown over 23.5 yards longest reception. Brock Purdy under 7.5 rushing yards. Nick Bosa under a half a sack. Both teams have scored 20 plus. 49ers to lose a fumble, and then 2-point attempt as well. So like I mentioned a few times before during this episode, at the end of every episode we do, in the comment section we'll see a link to our Google Sheet. This is a ledger of all of our bets, how many units we placed on that, what book we placed that at, juice we got on, and then also the result. This is the best place to look for all of our bets. Get some analysis, obviously, with the show. And then we got kind of go through all the bets that we've got. We've got a ton. We are volume better if you haven't followed us before. So just for example, we've got 2 games going on, and we've got basically about 60 bets so far in these 2 NFL games. So we are a volume better. We handicap the game. We try to get both sides. Am I going to go 60-0? No. We're here to make profit. So that's why we post everything out. We do have some best bets, some prop of the days, things of that nature. But for example, you'll see those when the units come up. Like we really like the Chiefs +4. We love the Lions over the 9.5 team total first half. Things of that nature. You'll see those all over the place. So you see a unit increase. That's something that we really like on there. So make sure you do check out those Google Sheets when you get some time. And as always, if you can subscribe and get notifications to our YouTube channel, it makes life so easy once you hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on for YouTube. Every time Sports Bets for Free drops new bets, a new episode of bets, which we do on a daily basis with basketball and everything else going on as well. Make sure you get that done. You'll give you plenty of time to match them up with your bets and give you that ton of confidence you need heading to the betting app or betting window. I do appreciate everybody's support as always, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.